You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Domashevitz.
Ba 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 ba. Okay, I'll.
WSU fight song.
Yeah, or Hoquiam fight song.
That's not a real place.
I think it is. And for the Aberdeen people, it's da 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 da. I'm kind
You're
of
right. I do recognize that.
Yeah, you should. You should recognize that. I'm growing up, I was a little embarrassed because I knew Aberdeen's fight song much better than Hoquiam's, and I'm gonna blame my mom. She was a bobcat, and so every now and then she would just start singing the Aberdeen fight song in our house growing up, and I'd be like, "Mom, stop!" Like, we're all like involved in like Hoquiam sports, and my mom's just like, "Aberdeen will fight forever for the colors gold and blue," and I was like, "No! Stop it!" But so sadly,
awesome.
Sadly for life, I will be able to, recite the Aberdeen fight song. It feels sacrilege to me, but it comes in handy for shows like this, I guess. I'm Daniel Hargrove, by the way. This is The Scrimmage. Producer Andrew is here. Justin this week is going to be the absentee producer, as I was last week because...
Absentee co-host.
Yeah, he called me the absentee producer last week because I helped with the show sheet.
Yeah, but Justin's not very accurate.
That's true. I mean, as we're seeing, accuracy is a problem with reporting these days. Yeah. Sickness is just sucky this time of year, man. Like, we are taking turns, and it is everywhere, and it is quite annoying. And so this week it's Justin's turn.
Have you tried not being sick and just being awesome instead?
Dude, I've tried. I can't, apparently. It's super frustrating. Anyway, we got some stuff we're going to talk about. Is it important? Debatable. Let's get it going with the 2-minute drill.
Good tease.
Let's go, huddle up. Gotta hurry. Hey, 2-minute situation, 44 seconds, hand the ball to ref. Gonna do it right. 3 jet Buckeye on 1, 3.
The 2-minute drill starts now. Daniel, with the possibility that Brady is not retiring, is the rush to be first not correct, ruining reporting?
Yes, and I don't think this is a new thing. I think this has been going on for a while, and it has just been fueled by the fire of social media and getting that first tweet out. So now, like, when I heard the report or the news that Brady's retiring, and as soon as I hopped on and I saw that it wasn't a tweet from Brady or an Instagram post from Brady and it was Adam Schefter reports, I went, huh, that seems odd. Like, retiring is usually something that the player posts themselves. Usually they don't go, "Hey, Shefty, I'm going to leak you some news here so you can get this tweet out." No, that's not how they normally do it. Will he retire? Won't he? Still yet to be seen. Who knows? But, man, I hope he doesn't, just so all those, I'm the first one, I got the scoop. Like, take a seat. Make sure you got your facts straight. Andrew, can we expect another train wreck with the Raiders hiring Josh McDaniels as their head coach?
Yes. Josh McDaniels is the anti-Carroll. He has everything that you need to be a head coach except for the leadership. Carroll actually doesn't have nothing that you need but leadership, but yeah. Carroll's strongest attribute as a coach is his leadership and his ability to build a culture. And Josh McDaniels demonstrated an inability to command the respect of a locker room, as well as just kind of being off the I think he's probably a really good cheater, and I look forward to seeing what happens in it's hard to blame the Raiders for trying him because he's a brilliant offensive mind, apparently. I do not expect it to go well. Daniel, Grayson, Allen got suspended 1 game for an intentional foul that left Alex Caruso injured for over a month. Should suspensions take the outcome into consideration or just the act of the play?
I think you could get into some really weird waters there if you start taking the injuries too much into consideration when you're looking at suspensions. Because say you do an intentional foul and maybe you just kind of pushed somebody with one arm, but in that push, the dude trips over his foot, breaks his ankle, and he's out for the rest of the year. Should your suspension fit the broken ankle, or should it fit the fact that you just got a little frustrated and did a sidearm push? What if LeBron James, when he elbowed that guy punched him in the face, had broke that guy's orbital bone, and he was out for the rest of the year?
Well, I think we can all agree that he should have been out for the rest of the year as well.
Well,
then.
that's the thing. Does the punishment, does the result, injury result, should that play too much into it? I don't think it should. But I probably should have been more than one game, but that's just because Grayson Allen's a repeat offender. It's like Vontaze Burfict in the NFL. Like, you gotta start stacking those suspensions, make it bigger. Justin, wow.
Hi.
Yeah, you're Andrew. Andrew, how much sports could a sports ball if a sports ball could ball?
Yes.
I switched that up on you. It was supposed to be,
did.
why do sports ball? Either way. I couldn't think of
the
another
answer
question.
to that is because they can. The answer to how much is yes.
Yes, there we go. I couldn't think of another question.
What if when you mentioned Burfict, I
Yeah.
realized what they should do is they should take previous suspensions into account.
That's a good point.
If this is the 6th time you've committed a technical foul that hurt someone, maybe you should be suspended for longer.
Yeah, or even if it doesn't hurt someone, but like some of the plays you're like, hey, you got lucky that dude's not
Yeah.
in a stretcher right now.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, say you cut somebody's legs out from under them, but they happen to land perfectly
Yeah.
and not hurt themselves.
That's a foul, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, depending on how blatant it is, it should, if
Okay.
they're going up for a lane and you come in behind them and cut their legs out, that's an intentional foul.
Okay.
And if they just happen not to get hurt, that's still a play that could have, so that, and that's the thing. Like, if somebody happens to not get hurt, but it was an egregious, horribly dangerous thing, like taking somebody's legs out, you should still get suspended a lot, even though nobody got hurt for it, and vice versa. So everybody likes to bring up this guy's out for this long, and this person only got suspended that much, and blah. And it's like, well, I see why that's upsetting. But to me, the punishment should fit the crime, not the outcome. I guess that's
fit the risk. I think it should. I think it's fair to say it should fit the risk.
I guess that's not how it works in law, because obviously you're going to be punished more if somebody dies when you assault them than if they don't die when you assault them. So, I don't know. But sports is different than law, as we see all the time.
That's true. Also, law does take intent into account.
That's true.
In some situations, like if you kill someone by accident, that's not as bad as if you planned to kill someone
That's
and then
true.
kill them.
Or even crime of passion.
Right.
If there's not the... Yeah, that's a good point.
So there's some taken... Ultimately, anything where you're trying to implement punishments for a behavior, it gets subjective very quickly.
Absolutely. That's true. Let's see. Other questions. Josh McDaniels. I don't have too much to add. I'm pretty much more. This is going to be a problem today because I feel like me and you, I mean, this is going to be kind of a theme, I feel like, all day. We have grown so much closer in all of our sports opinions, and Justin
It's tough being
can
right all the time.
Justin will A, either disagree with us, or B, disagree with us on purpose for the sake of an argument. And I'm not as good at that as just being like, I'm going to take the other side here. In fact, I'm terrible at that. I'm terrible at making an argument from a side that I don't agree with. So the title of this show might just be called like the echo chamber, because I feel like we're going to be like, I agree. But yeah, Josh McDaniels. What do you think about the whole Brady situation? Were you excited when he was retiring?
I wasn't excited. Honestly, at this point, I've got past I'm always going to root against Brady.
Yeah.
So, but I've got past the intense sport hatred.
Yeah.
Like at this point, I'm just going, I'm not even mad. This is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, you won another Super Bowl?
Right.
That's incredible. So I I will be a little bit sad when he leaves the league because I think it will be the end of an era, and I'm gonna have to find somebody else to hate. I'm guessing that Mahomie is gonna take that over.
Yeah,
and again,
he's already taking it over for me.
To be clear to everyone out there, when I say I hate Tom Brady, it is not. I'm not saying I think Tom Brady is a terrible person.
Yeah,
I think he cheated, but besides that, sports hate is very different.
It is.
It's
extremely different.
I'm going to root against the Huskies and the Ducks always and forever, and I'm going to root against them more when they have people that I like, because I'm going to be mad that they have people I like.
Yeah, because you wanted them on your team.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're frustrated that they have somebody that you like.
So it's very, very different than my feelings for, say, Tyreek Hill, who I don't think should be in the league.
Yeah.
There's a difference. I don't root against Tyreek Hill. I prefer not to think about him. And when I do, I'm like, yeah, that guy shouldn't be in the league. I root against Tom Brady because he's the greatest quarterback that's played, the most successful quarterback that's played, and he doesn't play for my team.
Exactly.
So I hate that.
Exactly.
But I sports hate it. It's slightly different.
It is.
I just feel
very important distinction.
It is, and I feel like it's difficult. So I feel like a lot of people have trouble making that distinction even in themselves.
Yeah.
So I wasn't happy that Brady was retiring. I did think it was hilarious how the whole thing happened yesterday as I'm getting updates on my phone that Brady's gonna retire later today. Brady retired. All of these amazing things about Brady. Brady definitely didn't retire. The Bucks say that they haven't heard anything from Brady. So it was hilarious. I was like, what is even happening?
Yeah.
I think that
It turns out it's just one of those commercials with Gronk and Brady, and they're just they had cut out. The real message was Brady going, I'm not going to retire yet. I might think about it in a little bit. I'll probably announce later today that I'm not retiring, but it cut out every time. And so it just said, I'm retired today, later.
He was on the AT&T network.
Exactly.
Oh, wait, does Verizon never actually say that, do they? They're just on a subpar network.
Yeah, exactly.
I did think, besides the fact that you're absolutely right, that it was a case of Schefter and whoever else he was reporting with, they jumped the gun. Whether they had something they were supposed to report at later or not, they definitely jumped the gun in an effort to be first out front. I thought that the other takeaway was all across social media, we saw that everybody running these accounts is all ready to go.
That's a good point.
It was Brady's retiring. I've got stuff for that.
Right.
The NFL account was and I mean, I'm sure most of these people are relatively they're not the decision makers.
Yeah.
But they're seeing I'm ready with stuff for when Brady retires. Yep. Here it goes.
Here's my Brady retire folder.
Yes.
Copy, paste, boom, done. Upload these images that I've already made, and I've been updating after 19 years, after 20 years, after 21 years. They just keep updating the words. How many years? It's going to be 30 years. They're just going to keep updating that image. After 30 years, Brady retires. Is this going to be the one?
I think it was Adam Silver that was reporting that it seemed like this was more a situation where it happened. It got Schefter tweeted it way too early, basically.
Shocker.
So, right, which would imply that Brady is probably going to retire, but now he's mad and maybe we'll push it off for a few more weeks.
What if he plays another season just because of that?
What if he has a Super Bowl commercial where he announces that he's not retiring?
That would be great.
Would be pretty ridiculous.
Yes. I like that plan. By the way, I'm sorry for the interference. I keep if you're watching the stream, I keep moving my phone around.
It's
I tried
very
switching
entertaining.
I tried switching it from Wi-Fi to data, back to Wi-Fi to try and figure out if that's what it is. I can't. And apparently there it is again. I can't find a spot. I'm holding it out here.
Don't let it distract you.
It's distracting me in my earballs. That's where it's distracting me.
So, can I just say Grayson Allen?
Yeah. You can say
Grayson
Allen.
His name swapped.
You can.
That is very clearly a last name and then a first name.
It is. It's like Elton John.
It's worse than Elton John, though, because
Is
Elton,
it worse?
Elton is not even obviously a last name. Elton is just a weird name.
Well, so is Grayson.
Yeah, but it's actually
Grayson's
like
just a
there's
weird
lots
name.
of last names. Like it's Grayson.
Oh, that's a good point. I see what you're saying.
Grayson sounds like a last name. Elton just sounds like a word.
Weirdo.
Oh, it just sounds like. I mean, you know. But Grayson is very clearly a last name. He's the son of Gray.
Yeah, that checks out. Well, Allen is also a last name for people.
That's true. That is
it's
true.
a first name, but I guess
Allen has a better claim to being a last name than Grayson has being a first name.
all right. It's Justin's favorite part of the show, but
Oh.
Justin's not here.
Oh, hey, I have a thing for this.
Serving questions up on a silver platter where the points are made up and the rules don't matter. Time for Stump Daniel.
Hooray! So I do have a Stump Daniel.
Real
prepared.
quick, by the way, I'm always impressed that both you and Justin are always wearing like sports stuff constantly when I'm on the show, and then I'll like show up in like a church shirt. This week though, birthday present from Andrew, full on hockey sweater, Brandon Tanev, number 13, and
Daniel's number.
yes, and you have on a Seattle Kraken, that's the name of it, a Kraken shirt and a Mariners hat.
Yeah.
Spring training
Spring
is
training
almost
hat.
here if it happens on time.
If it ever happens.
Anyway, sorry.
Oh yeah, no. I was looking for my blue and gold Mariners hat, and I couldn't
Okay.
find it. I think it's in my another car, but so that's what I was going for, and then I was like, crap.
We have a car that has the car seat in it, and I used the other car yesterday for the first time in like 3 weeks. And I was like, why do I have like 3 changes of softball clothes in here? Oh. That
This
softball
car smells like a locker room.
that tournament was 3 months ago.
Oh gosh. All right, so this is Stump Daniel, brought to you by the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz.
Yeah, we should mention them.
And so it's just Justin has been slowly morphing this. In the past, the goal of Stump Daniel was to make Daniel feel embarrassed and
Yes.
ridiculous and
Yeah.
small and depressed.
All of those things.
But since he's become a father, I think Justin has been feeling more empathy for Daniel, and
checks out, yeah.
he feels like maybe Daniel has enough humiliation in his life without
Because
adding
I'm a
to it.
father now.
I don't know. Being a father sounds really icky.
Well, you have to deal with lots of poop.
Yeah, which is pretty humiliating.
But I've had a lot of experience of that in my life, dealing with poop. So maybe that's a story for another time.
so we just I think Justin has been trying to avoid giving you even more poop.
Gotcha. That checks out.
So I have it's very, you're not going to feel very embarrassed by this, but it is interesting, and I found it in around 5 minutes on the internet. So.
Well done.
Yes.
I'm impressed.
So I have a list here of the top 5 NFL head coaches ranked by postseason wins.
Oh, postseason wins.
I'm gonna give
like
you
total
total
Not
postseason
percentage?
wins.
Okay.
I'm gonna so it's not winning percentage.
Okay.
So it's just total postseason wins. I'm gonna give you 5 guesses
All right.
to guess the top 5 coaches.
How far back does this go? Can I get that? Like, does this
This
go
goes all the way back.
all the way back?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know the years, but it goes all the way back.
Okay.
It's NFL coaches. I guess it goes back to the merger. That would be my guess. I don't think any of these guys are pre-merger.
It was
But I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't. At least one of these names I don't know at all.
okay. Gotcha. So I just
Yeah,
guessed?
just
Okay.
give me a guess. Give me a guess. Where's your first guess?
Well, I don't know. I'm pretty sure this is pre-merger, but I'd feel bad not guessing the guy whose name is on the Super Bowl trophy. So Vince Lombardi.
Hold on here.
Oh,
Whoops.
you're
Whoops.
finding the buzzer.
Yeah, I am, and I can't. There we go. No. There we go.
The wah-wah.
Vince, as a point of interest, Vince Lombardi is 19th.
Okay, so it does go back that far though. Okay, gotcha.
Vince Lombardi is 19th. He has 9 postseason wins
Wow.
and
so this-
one loss.
Well, I'm assuming Bill Belichick has to be like 1, right?
I'm sorry. I'm doing lots of things here. Bill Belichick is number 1
Okay.
with 31 postseason wins.
Hate that guy.
Seriously.
Gosh. Okay. Let's go with. Okay. The Niners coach. What is his name? The West Coast offense. Okay, I'll circle back around. I'll go with Cowboys, and I'll go Jimmy Johnson.
I really like this, but I can't get the stupid things. It's you were right. You were correct on the team, wrong on the coach. I'll give you a little.
Landry.
Tom Landry is number 2 on this list with 20 postseason wins.
Gotcha.
I basically gave you that one, but I it's good.
Yeah, I was gonna go with Landry. I was gonna say him before Jimmy Johnson, and then what is Walsh? Walsh?
Bill Walsh. I think Bill Walsh, right, is not on this on the top 5. Bill Walsh is.
Who's Bill Walsh?
Bill
that
Walsh
who I'm
is
thinking of?
15th. Yeah.
Was he the
Yeah,
49ers?
49ers.
Okay.
Bill Walsh is 15th with 10 postseason wins and 4 losses.
Wow.
Super Bowls, Super Bowls or championships in 1981, 1984, and 1988 with the Niners. I think you have one more guess, don't you?
Yeah. I've got 2.
There's one obvious one that you should get.
Shoot.
He is currently coaching in the NFL.
I feel like this guy should be. But there's a couple, actually, that I feel like could be up there. But the first one, I'll just go with the first one that popped in my head and say Andy Reid.
Andy Reid.
Nice.
Andy Reid is 3rd with 19 wins.
Dang.
Don Shula
That's a
is
big one.
tied for 3rd with 19 wins. And Joe Gibbs is 5th with 17 wins.
See, all of those names I know, at least. Like, I feel...
I didn't know Joe Gibbs, or I recognized Don Shula, but I couldn't have told you who he coached for, honestly, which is
Dolphins,
embarrassing.
I think.
Because he has the
I'm surprised that Walsh isn't in there. Wasn't Walsh not the head coach of all of Montana and Young?
I don't know. He it may have been number of years, because he had the 3 Super Bowl or the 3 championships and 10 wins, 4 losses.
Wow.
Mike McCarthy is 17th with 10 wins and 9 losses.
Weird.
Would you like to guess where
Pete Carroll is?
Pete Carroll is on this list?
I'm going to say 25th.
He is 14th with 11 wins and 10 losses.
That was a terrible guess.
Now, so the crazy thing to me about this, I have another little, another set of questions for you, but the crazy thing to me about this is Bill Belichick is first with 31 wins and 13 losses. So he has a 705 winning percent, 0.705 winning percentage. He wins 70% of his postseason games.
That's nuts, man.
Tom Landry at 20 wins had 16 losses, so like 55%.
Dude, both of those guys were around forever.
Andy Reid has 19 postseason wins, 15 losses, also 55%. All these games, it goes down to Joe Gibbs is the next one with 70. He's got 17 wins and 7 losses.
Wow.
Chuck Noll is just behind him with 16 wins and 8 losses. But it's just Mike Holmgren's number 7 with 13 wins and 11 losses. So again, there's so many of these coaches are up here like roughly 500, but were long-lived enough to get into the playoffs a lot.
What was Pete Carroll's? He was 11 and...
Pete Carroll is 11 and 10.
So I was going to trash Carroll's playoff record, but even when you look at all time, like he's not that far off percentage-wise. It's hard to win in the playoffs.
He's slightly below, yeah.
So it's hard to win in the playoffs.
Below the top.
This is over, like, where's Mike Tomlin at? And was Mike Tomlin the coach when Roethlisberger started, or was Cowher still the coach?
I think he started. His first year was 2007, so probably before.
I think it might have been right after, because I think
He is
Yeah,
he is
that's right
27th in the NFL head coaches. That's all time.
Yeah.
With 8 wins and 9 losses.
Gotcha.
One championship.
It's a very interesting exercise to look at that.
Yeah.
And especially, like, it makes sense because Tom Brady has made it to the Super Bowl,
so many
like, what, 10 times? Like, I remember seeing that meme where Brady has a higher percentage of making it to the Super Bowl than Steph Curry has of making a three-pointer.
That's ridiculous.
That's bonkers.
That really is.
Retire already.
All right, so I don't have as much info. That was thanks to a tweet by NFL_stats and also the Wikipedia list of National Football League head coaches by playoff record. Super fascinating list to scroll through.
That was awesome.
I was reading through it for like way too long this morning. Learning things that did not matter at all and I won't ever remember.
Yep.
This next one I don't have nearly as much information on, but is also from a tweet from NFL_stats.
Okay.
I have the top 5 quarterbacks ranked by passing touchdowns after turning 40. That'd be in the NFL. NFL passing touchdowns after 40.
Okay.
You have 5 guesses.
Brady.
Yes, Brady is number 1 with whoop, I'm sorry. There you go.
That's right. That's worth the one too.
That was for me.
Yeah.
Tom Brady is first on this list with 168 touchdowns post turning 40.
Jeez. Let's go with Warren Moon.
Good guess. Warren Moon is 4th on this list he's tied for 3rd on this list with 44 touchdowns after turning 40.
Okay. Let's say Drew Brees is that old, right? Let's go with Drew Brees.
Drew Brees is number 2 on this
Serving
list.
question.
Whoops.
It's all right. You're doing.
I've got 2 screens.
You're doing 3 jobs right
Drew
now.
Brees is second on this list with 51. So first was 168. Drew Brees number 2, 51 touchdowns after he turned 40.
Dang. Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning is not on this list.
Did he quit before 40?
He must have.
Whoops.
I don't have an extended list or anything. So
Okay, I've got 2 names. They're both fairly old. I don't know if either of them are good guesses.
give me
at
both
all.
of them.
Give you both of them?
Yeah.
Randall Cunningham and Fran Tarkenton.
Neither of those are correct.
Oh.
The 2 that you missed are tied with Warren Moon with 44 touchdowns after turning 40 is Brett Favre.
That was one I should have got. Yeah.
And then
I feel stupid.
rounding out the list with 31 touchdowns after turning 40 is Vinny Testaverde.
Both. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I tried to go to what would be the word? Fancy. I tried
maybe.
I too fancy with the Cunningham and the Tarkenton. Like, oh, look at me. I know old names.
I know old names. Old quarterbacks didn't throw touchdowns. They handed off touchdowns.
Well, both of those guys were known for
Yeah.
more of their high flying offenses for the time they played in.
yeah.
So that was my hope and dream, and it was crushed. Okay, yeah. So
that was Stump Daniel brought. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I don't have any points for you,
No, that's
but
all right.
you're definitely in the Beaver Zone, Daniel.
Yes.
And
It's always good to be in the Beaver Zone.
that was Stump Daniel, brought to you by the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz. I don't know what comes next.
Yeah, I'm looking. Well, I moved. Should we? Yeah, let's do this now. So, first of all, is anybody watching our live stream? I know there's
I don't
playoff
know.
football going on right now.
Oh heavens! Would you like me to read?
Do we have comments? Is
Would you
Justin
like
just
me to-
spamming stuff?
Would you like me to read the comments from Justin?
Let's read a couple.
Since 116.
Oh,
so
no.
over the last half hour, Justin has said, "Is it Kraken Day?" It's a good thing and I'm not there. No gear. Justin Domashevitz. Sorry, I read his name.
There you go.
Ban Grayson. That's his unbiased opinion.
Yeah, of course.
Keep LeBron's name out of your mouth.
I was wondering what his reaction to that would be.
Your sister asked if we can discuss your extremely macho drink holder today.
Yeah. It is a mason jar with a purple.
I detest the color.
Yeah, I'm not much for the color either, but I lost my water bottle, and so this is what I'm going with.
Justin said that's why flopping is so important. Got to sell the foul. He also said the super wide jar like that is still manly, I think. Don't be a Brady hater. Just lean in.
No.
Can't hate Mahomes. He's a Red Raider. Russell Wilson syndrome. Keep Elton John's name out of your mouth. It's Kraken week, and they're playing well. It's in your other car. Okay, moneybags, how many cars do you need? Well, only one of them runs, Justin. It's a new, kinder, gentler version of Stump Daniel. And then he was guessing Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, Don Shula, Tom Landry, not Bill Walsh. Terrible guess.
Wow.
Don Shula, Andy Reid. Shula coaches the undefeated Dolphins and was the winningest coach in NFL history. Coached the undefeated Dolphins.
Yeah, he only knows that because he's a Dolphins fan.
Bill a cheat. Brady, Moon, Fouts, Breeze.
Oh, he went Fouts there.
Andrew's spinning a lot of plates right now. Yeah. Manning broke early. Terrible guess. Good job, Andrew. No points.
Okay, so periodically I'm going to just ask you to check in on the chat because as Justin mentioned, you are doing like way too many things at once. Maybe I can... No, see, the problem is I only have a phone.
Yeah.
If I had my laptop, then maybe. But I'm also worried about maxing out the internet here.
Yeah.
Because we're streaming and I'm assuming your dad's watching football upstairs.
Probably.
So I feel like we're already pushing the limits as it is. But, yeah.
Speaking of football, with 11 minutes left in the third quarter, Cincinnati has the ball and is trailing by 11, 10 to 21.
Ooh, the comeback is
Don't
coming.
Don't you jinx it.
Okay, Andrew, something that happened last week really got us fired up. And it was another situation where the overtime rules came into play in the playoffs, where we have this game where the offenses and the quarterbacks are just playing out of their minds, and the first team that gets the ball is obviously going to score a touchdown.
The winner of the... I'm not sure when they changed the... It hasn't been that long ago that they changed the rules.
But in the playoffs, it's 10 of 11 times the team who won the coin toss won the game.
Yeah.
And 7 of those 11 times, they've marched right down the field and scored a touchdown.
Okay, that's why I wasn't sure on those specific. I'm glad you had that.
Yeah, I had it in my head because I've heard it like 4 times this week and a couple times yesterday. So
the coin flip is deciding the winner of these games.
Exactly. And the argument you hear most often, I feel like, is a fairly simple one to knock down. And the argument is for, because me and you could call this the echo chamber section of the show.
Hello.
But we think that each team should get a possession, at least. Doesn't matter if you score a touchdown. That doesn't matter. Each team should get a possession. And the argument you hear is, well, if the other team played defense and kept them out of the end zone, defense is a big part of the game. And our retort to that is, yeah, so why does only one team have to play defense?
That's exactly right.
Especially in a game like that where both of the defenses are absolutely exhausted at the game because it turned into a track meet. They're absolutely exhausted. All the rules changes over the last 10 years have been pro-offense, and yet you go, defense is 50% of the game. A, that's wrong, because if that was true, the rules would change to make to advantage both teams.
I thought you were going to say, because actually special teams is 10%.
Oh, that's... Yeah, well, the Packers showed that special teams is important.
Special teams is so important.
But, I mean, think about it. Like, only one team's having to play defense then.
Yep.
And all the rules have been slanting offense over the past 10 years, 10, 15 years. 30 years, 40 years. All of the rules changes have been like, let's get more points on the board.
As rules have changed, they have consistently changed to make it easier for the offense to score points.
So I heard a couple of solutions, and one of them is one that I think.
I want to.
Yeah,
before you go
on.
to solutions, I also want to say that it is literally the same as if you flipped a coin at the end of 9 innings, and to decide who was home.
Yeah.
And you played half of an inning.
Yeah.
That's what it's like.
That's what it's like, and the caveat, if you want to go with the whole touchdown field goal thing that they changed, then you would be like, okay, if that team hits a home run, then the game's over. If they just score a run the normal way, then the other team gets to respond.
So they get 3 chances swinging from their butts.
Yeah, exactly. So, exactly.
Actually, probably baseball's been busy making rules to make the defense easier.
They've been trying.
Well, defense has been getting easier because the true three true outcomes and the pitching getting better and better.
That's true.
Has made it so that.
See, I think they're trying to make the offense better because the pitching keeps getting better. Like the rules, I don't know. That's an interesting
if they
question.
were trying to do that, they would move the plate back and fix all of the problems in baseball.
Again,
Or not
echo
the plate,
chamber, the pitcher's mound,
yeah.
echo chamber. I'm right there with you, and I'm staunch. I am a staunch baseball purist, and yet I've looked at that.
Justin says, if neither defense can stop a touchdown, would the game never end? Yes, the game would never end until a defense stopped a touchdown, Justin.
Yeah. Well, and a 2-point conversion, and you could have escalators in there.
Yeah.
Like do college football overtimes ever end?
No.
No, apparently
they're still playing
one
down in Texas.
Yeah, they're still playing a college football game. Like,
Special
they
teams
end.
is at least 7%, according to Justin. And he says we don't need to fix baseball extra innings. They already did. A runner starts in second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sure.
That's so freaking stupid.
Justin also says he'd move the pitcher's mound forward. So I think he's just saying random things now.
Yeah, I think that, and that's the thing. Like,
That would be terrifying.
that'd be horrifying.
You have people literally just holding the bat out at
Yeah. Having played against a kid who was 6 foot, 220 pounds as a 12-year-old, that was terrifying at the Little League distance. And he beamed me in the leg once.
On purpose?
Not on purpose. No, he was
Did
a
you
nice
rush the
guy.
mound?
No. You know Dusty. You remember Dusty Sturgeon from football? Yeah, that's who it was. He was
You should have rushed the mound.
He
You were
was 6
scared.
feet tall, over 200 pounds as a 12-year-old. I could barely walk to first after he beamed me in the leg.
Justin thinks that Ks are the most entertaining part of the game. Well, he didn't say that. He said more Ks. So I
like
assume
Ks.
I assume.
See, I like a good pitching duel.
I
like
actually
the rest of us,
disagree.
but-
I think the more strikeouts, I like strikeouts, but the more strikeouts there are, the less I like them.
Yeah.
They're only awesome when it's really impressive.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't want every game to have 12 strikeouts by one pitcher.
Strikeout is the most exciting play in baseball! Exclamation points.
Okay. He's trying to change the subject because Justin was on the other side of this argument that we're having. He was one of the, defense is important. Why don't you play it? And there's just there's so much on the other side of that. So let's go to solutions real quick because one of the things I personally think each team should get a possession. So we both think that. I heard the idea the other day. I think I was listening to the Brock and Salk podcast or something. Somebody brought up, look, if it's that much of an advantage to have the ball first, why don't you just make it that the home team has the ball first? So you're basically rewarding a team for having a better record going into the playoffs.
Sure.
They have home field advantage. Just like in baseball, it's definitely an advantage to hit second. So they're saying, all right, the advantage is you have to score a touchdown to win, but you also, as the home team, get the ball. At least there's something there to add merit to which team gets the ball. Instead of
if you're gonna have
here
one,
we go, let's flip a coin.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
So at least that would insert some sort of this team deserves it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And if you wanted to do it correctly, instead of just making a small, tiny thing to make it less bad, you could say both teams get a possession, no matter what. Mm-hmm. They get a possession. If it's still tied, they both get another possession, and the second or the home team goes second. Give them a
that would be the other. That was the other thing I was thinking is if you want both teams to get a possession, you then say home team second. I'm totally fine with that. Absolutely. You could do it with a coin flip as well, but I would actually like the home team to have that advantage better than a coin flip. The other thing, I was looking through.
Justin says, what if they flipped 3 coins?
Gosh dang it. I think you need to stop reading. You might have to block him for a second. Like, is there a way to block Justin? I'm just kidding.
I can put him on timeout.
There's another. So I was reading through a Bleacher Report argument or Bleacher Report thing where they're like, here's a bunch of solutions that fans came up with. And some of them were just stupid. Like, let's have a kickoff where you move the kickers back 5 yards every minute. Get out of here.
Isn't that McAfee's? Or,
I don't know. But if it
what's
is.
his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's his.
Punter.
He wants kickers out.
Yeah, nobody wants that. Get out of here. I mean, that's worse.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard Matt Hasselbeck say is that he liked that idea.
Ugh.
Yeah,
That's
awful.
That is worse than a shootout in hockey and soccer to decide a game. Like, that's worse than that because at least in soccer and hockey, that's the main way to score. You know?
Yeah.
In football, that's like the auxiliary way to score is by kicking
The equivalent
field
in
goal.
football would be like running plays from the 20.
Well, that's what I was thinking is the XFL rules, the old school XFL rules. Was it old school or new? Anyway, but they did what they called a shootout, and so you had 5 plays or 5 possessions from the 5-yard line. So 1 play possessions, you got the ball, it's basically 4th and goal at the 5. Do you score? That counts as a point. And you would go back and forth.
That'd be fun.
That'd be fun. I mean, it's not purely football, but
Yeah.
at least it's the offense and the defense out there, making plays.
Playing football.
Yeah.
At least it's both sides of it's the whole
Exactly.
team playing football.
And I could get behind that. It's a one or done, 5 plays possession. So that'd be fun. I'm not sure if I think it is right, but it's more right than what they have now, in my opinion.
If you're gonna go that way of making the rules somewhat different to it'd be kind of interesting to see them let the big guys take a rest and just play 7-on-7 from 7-on-7 from the 20-yard line.
Yeah.
In a similar kind of 5 possessions, a point if you score.
And that's the other argument against having these both possession things is, the player safety, it's going to be so tired. Like, you really going to do that? Don't do this in the regular season. End it in a tie.
Absolutely.
End
Ties
games
are
in a
fine
tie.
in the regular season.
Who cares? It's a tie. Big deal.
Make fun of both teams.
Exactly. In the playoffs, that's when, I'm sorry that the players are going to get tired. You're going to have to figure it out in overtime because we need a winner. And the hilarious part is there was, what game was it? It was the Niners game, and one of their big offensive linemen was mic'd up. And at the end of regulation, he waddles over, he is gassed. He is beat up. He's been in the trenches all day. He gets over to the bench, and he just looks beat up. And the kick goes through to make game winner so that he doesn't have to play overtime. And you could tell he was more grateful that he didn't have to play more that night than they were going. He wasn't excited they were moving on to the next game.
He's just
he was glad the game was
God.
done. Yeah, he literally went, thank you, Jesus. Thank you. And you could tell it was that. It wasn't the fact that they were advancing. It was the game's over.
Justin pointed out that 3 divisional games were decided by a field goal last week, which is a good point. Field goals are definitely an important part of the game, but they are not the primary method of scoring points.
Exactly. That's all I said. It was an auxiliary way of scoring points.
And he also said, what if they play with an extra timed extra period, but all players get a sword? New meaning to the term sudden death. I think that's a Blitz League rule.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it in Blitz League.
You know what's crazy? This is a side tangent. Justin, again, proving his amazing ability to sidetrack shows.
Remotely.
Remember when we were talking about the Hall of Fame and cheating and that? And
yeah.
I had a random thought when we were thinking about that because I was like, should cheaters be in the Hall of Fame, especially if their cheating led to them putting up
That
the
happened
numbers?
this last week. That's relevant.
Okay, so my thought was, because I go slippery slope. I use that fallacy a ton. And I think I do it because a lot of times in life, you see the slippery slope actually start to take effect if you look back far enough at where things started and where things are now. But I digress from that. So I slippery sloped into what if you had a Major League Baseball player named Knifey McGee, and every time he got on first, he would shank the first baseman, then letting him get a larger lead, and he set the record for steals.
Wouldn't
Should he
he
be
be
allowed
in
to be in the Hall of
prison?
Fame? You would think so. I mean, steroid use was illegal too. Wouldn't they be in prison? Not if you don't get caught. Shanky was really good at not getting caught. Shanky
So nobody
people.
knew he was shanking people.
Exactly. Not until afterwards, and they started looking at the medical records. Hey, all these first basemen, after playing Shanky McGee, are ended up in the hospital with internal bleeding.
Okay.
Should he be in the Hall of Fame?
So 100% seriously, yes. In my opinion, I'm like in my opinion, if that played out like that, like the guy was somehow like, yes, he should be in the Hall of Fame, and the whole story in the Hall of Fame could be about how horrible of a person he was.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But a lot of that comes back to what we were talking, like what is the Hall of Fame?
What is the Hall of Fame?
Because especially the baseball writers,
are
they
terrible.
consider their Hall of Fame to be the ultimate honor that can be bestowed upon a baseball player.
Yeah.
And when you look at it that way, then you don't want to include anyone who, you don't even want to include people, which they don't. That's why they have the quote character clause, unquote. They don't want to include anyone in their Hall of Fame who's even a bad guy.
Yeah. Or that they just don't like.
Or that they don't, right.
Like,
right. Well,
this
that's what it
person
turns
has-
into.
yeah,
Is it
this-
turns into they don't like it, so.
Yeah, this
so
person
they
has
think-
done
yeah.
actually nothing illegal, but we hate his politics.
Yeah. Right. Or we were offended by this guy, how this guy behaved, or whatever. This guy yelled at us, and so like, it becomes very subjective based on how they feel about people.
Yeah, exactly.
And to me, and again, I'm not saying this is what the Baseball Hall of Fame is. I'm saying what I think a Hall of Fame for anything should be is it should be the people who are part of the story. To me, and this is very subjective also, but I don't know if you can get, I think that it's okay, because I think that when you're building a Hall of Fame, it is inherently subjective. And if you try to pretend it's objective, then you have
That's true.
arguments like you end up with arguments over does Marshawn Lynch deserve to be in the Hall of Fame because his numbers are really borderline. Mm-hmm. When I believe that it's an obvious yes, Marshawn Lynch was a massive part of a 5-year period of the NFL that you can't talk about without talking about Marshawn Lynch. So he goes in the Hall of Fame. So to me, it's you if I were building a Hall of Fame for a random sport, the people that the way that you would decide who is in the Hall of Fame is you'd get the people, baseball writers, sure, you'd get the writers, maybe the coaches, whatever. You'd get the group together that decided the Hall of Fame, and they would argue over, is this guy, like, do we have to include this guy in the museum that tells the story of our sport?
I get that, and
So
I can get
to me,
behind that. I think that is a valid thing. I have a weird thought about that. Would you involve like some of the biggest draft busts in there?
Oh yeah, Aaron
Like-
Curry, he'd be in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, I'm sad to say it, but
Also, he's
Ryan-
Seahawks
coach.
linebackers coach.
Ryan Leaf,
Yeah, absolutely.
Marcus Russell.
Yeah, like to me, those guys are iconic
That's true.
people in the figures in the sport.
Yeah.
For a bad reason.
Yeah,
but you
I'm not
still
sure
have
if
to put them
Curry's
in
quite
there.
on that level, but that's just because he's not a
No,
quarterback.
he'd be in the Seahawks Hall of Fame.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's
And
interesting.
there'd be a Hall of Shame within the I'm not
The
saying
different
that,
sections
and
of the
that's thing is
museum.
like and if some like it might be really awful because somebody might be like, oh my gosh, they're dredging that up. Ryan Leaf is like, I'm trying to turn a new leaf, and they just inducted me into the Hall of Fame for being the worst.
Please tell me that
like-
was intended. Please tell me that pun was intended.
Which one?
You just said Ryan Leaf is trying to turn a new leaf.
Oh gosh, no, it wasn't. Justin says that he slipped down a slippery slope once and got mud all over his butt.
Yeah.
He's also said Hall of Shame is mean-spirited. Yeah, I'm not saying it should be. That's basically what I'm saying.
But you're saying it's the story of the NFL.
That's
if you're going to tell the story of the NFL with cheaters setting records, and you're going to tell that story of this person.
Baseball with the
yeah. Well, I mean, there's cheaters in.
There's no cheaters in the NFL.
Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, no big deal. Or the countless guys who have been bumped for steroids, but in the NFL, it's like, it's a 4-game suspension. Who cares? In the MLB, if you're going to tell that story of, look, these guys cheated, but here's the ridiculous things they did. I mean, you can also have, hey, you don't see busts that often in baseball.
It's because
they're filtered out in the minor leagues.
Yeah,
probably.
I was going to say, I feel like there's so many more of them too.
Yeah. That's a good point.
It takes years for high draft picks to pan out to the point where you even know.
Exactly. I mean, us as Mariners fans, we know them very well because it happens all the time.
Yeah.
And Anyway, moving on. Also in our echo chamber, I think that the biggest thing that Pete Carroll should take away from the Chiefs Bills amazing game and late game heroics, the main thing, there is an obvious takeaway that if Pete Carroll even heard of that game, he should take away from it. And that is that both the Bills and the Chiefs, with a minute and a half left in the game, had all 3 of their timeouts. And it played a huge deal into 2 amazing comebacks because Josh Allen had the comfortability of being, I've got 3 timeouts. I've got all the time in the world to make this comeback. And then
he made it too fast. But with 13 seconds left,
they had 3 timeouts to work with. And with those 3 timeouts, it made it possible where even as you're watching, you're like, oh, dang, they got 3 timeouts. This might be doable. Even though it shouldn't have been, all you needed was to mess up one play or squib the kick so that runs some time off the clock instead of booting it in the end zone, but you can't even trust your special teams guys to make a tackle, so you're like, we better kick it out of the end zone, thus giving more time. But the fact that you have 2 teams who did that good of time management and saving that is what made those comebacks possible. Pete Carroll should have his hands tied behind his back during NFL games so he can't throw a freaking challenge flag and so he can't call a timeout because he's miserable at both of them.
Yeah. And that goes back to where I truly believe that Pete is an incredible leader and not nearly as incredible at game management, especially on the offensive side.
Yeah.
I think as a defensive coordinator, he's probably still incredibly good.
Yeah.
But on the offensive side, like he does not he manages it with emotion.
Yeah.
Like he straight up does. That's what he pulls. I believe he said that he pulls the challenge flag sometimes just because it shouldn't be right. And it's like, that's a wasted timeout that you need at the end of the game if you want to win a close game, which is what you want to do.
Yeah, that's what he preached. That's the other thing. How are you that bad at something that's important in close games when he loves to coach to a close game? Like, you would think he would have all of the strategy perfectly laid out because that is his mantra. You can't win the game in the first 3 quarters, but you can win it in the fourth quarter. And that viewpoint leads to them playing incredibly tight games constantly, even when they were a juggernaut. Most of the time they were close games, except for like that 3-game stretch where they scored like 150 points that one random season. But it's like, how? Because as you have said, there are Madden players who could manage the time better than and it's not just Pete Carroll. We see it across the NFL. So that when we do see a game like the Chiefs and the Bills, it is a surprise to see the time was managed correctly.
Yeah.
And with the amount of money that they pay their coaching staffs and all of these random positions we hear popping up on these coaching staffs of chief executive coach to the secondary's secretary. You know, like you
Defensive passing game coordinator.
Yeah, like you hear, or associate head coach of the Blues squad. Like you hear all of these stupid titles, and they can't get one time management coach that freaking knows how to. Sorry. Okay, I digress. We're gonna take a commercial break because I need to calm down, and we got all the local sports and the Oly Pen Real Estate Athlete of the Week coming up next. But first, a break.
Do you have a legal situation and need someone on your side? Let the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz be your advocate. If you've been the victim of medical malpractice, suffered a personal injury, or need representation with real estate law, small business law, or estate planning, let Jeff Damashevitz put his 29 years of experience to work for you. Call Jeff Damashevitz today at 360-612-3991 or visit damashevitzlaw.com. That's DAMASIEWICZLAW.com.
Thank you again to our sponsors, the Law Office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz and Oly Pen Real Estate. And now it is time for the Oly Pen Real Estate Athlete of the Week. And Andrew, this year we've had a lot of frequent flyers. There's like a handful of just standout athletes, especially here in the winter sports, that just keep coming around. And we got another one of them back again, and much deserved. It is McKynnlie Dalan. She is our Oly Pen Real Estate Athlete of the Week. The Montesano basketball player dropped 32 points while pulling down 18 rebounds. She also added 5 steals and 3 assists yesterday, Saturday, against Tenino. And that one, basically, it's like the league championship game because they were both undefeated in league up until that point. And they have one more game against each other, which will be like the league championship game again. Montesano won handily, so it'll be a shocker if they don't. But McKynnlie Dalan has just been a beast this year. And after dealing with injury problems a ton last year and some her freshman year as well, it's been a lot of fun to watch McKynnlie play this year. And she's not even the reigning league MVP, which is also on her team. So that kind of shows you how good this Monty squad is, as Paige Leisherness is putting up great numbers as well. And she is the former league MVP from last year, and they're both playing on the same team. And I think McKynnlie's probably going to win the league MVP this year. I mean, that's who I would probably – seeing the games that I've seen and the numbers I've seen, that would be my vote. So the fact that they're both on the same team, it's just crazy. But that wasn't all she did this week. No. She also led her team with 17 points to go along with 6 rebounds on Friday versus Eatonville. And she had 25 points to go along with 7 rebounds and 5 steals on Wednesday versus Elma in a 65-7 drubbing over the Eagles. Ouch. But
I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. But McKynnlie Dalan absolutely killing it this week. I believe that's a total of 74 points.
Are you doing radio math?
Well, I did some earlier, and now I can't remember if let's see, 32 plus 25, that's 57 plus 17, that's 74?
Yeah, that sounds right to me. I was going to say that no matter what,
Yeah,
but
let's
yes.
let's go with that. Anyway, so our Oly Pen Real Estate Athlete of the Week is McKynnlie Dalan. Massive week, including a huge game with 32 points and 18 rebounds to go along with 5 steals and 3 assists on Saturday against Tenino. And that was the third of her excellent games this week as well. So congratulations, McKynnlie. You are yet again our Oly Pen Real Estate Athlete of the Week. And by your reaction, I'm assuming that Justin said something about Montesano and Bulldogs.
Well, he made fun of one of us said comfortability.
I said comfortability, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
and he was questioning that, and then he said that Justin looks like he's lost weight because it says Justin Damashevitz underneath my face on the screen. And then he said, Athlete of the Week is a Bulldog again, just feels right. Also, apparently a D lineman just picked off Mahomey.
There we go.
And the game's getting interesting.
Yes.
And also, maybe you shouldn't do math out loud anymore.
Was it not 74?
I think maybe he just didn't find it very... I think maybe it's not great even if you get it right. He's redoing it. It is 74. Okay. But you should not do math out loud.
Okay, so
it is 19-21 Bengals.
Let's go.
With 14 seconds left in the third quarter.
Let's go Bengals. I like it.
I love big man interceptions.
Yes.
That is
one of the best things.
I can get behind that almost. Even if Russell Wilson throws an interception to a big man, I'm like, no. Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. The only thing that comes close to it is like when an offensive lineman picks up a fumble and actually has some running room, and you're like, whoa.
Do you remember when Red Bryant switched the ball?
Yeah.
That was so awesome.
All right, Andrew, we're going to get to the local sports roundup.
I could do that.
I got stuff. All right, in boys basketball, despite 7 3-pointers from Adrian Quintana, Raymond lost in overtime at Forks on Saturday, 67-66. Quintana finished with 28 points, and 3 of those 28 points were on a half-court buzzer beater to force the overtime, so that's pretty dope. Trey Seidel added 23 points to go along with 10 boards. At 7-5, Raymond currently sits in third place in the Pacific 2B League, 1 game behind Forks. Willapa Valley remained undefeated in the 1B Columbia Valley League with a 56-50 victory over the Nacelle Comets on Friday in Nacelle. Colton Fluke led the Vikings with 19 points to go along with 5 rebounds and 5 assists. He's no fluke on the basketball court either. Sorry. Throwing the pun there. Montesano picked up its first league win.
At least I had the decency to pretend not to know.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know.
First league win for Montesano boys on Tuesday against rival Elma. The Bulldogs' 57-51 victory was powered by its lone senior, Caden Lavelle. Gosh darn it, now I can't remember which one's right. I think it's Caden Lovell, who scored 23 points. Camden Taylor was the only other Bulldog in double figures with 10 points. Traden Carter led the Eagles with 16 points. Elma bounced back from the Tuesday loss to Montesano with a 74-59 victory over Hoquiam on Thursday. Cannon Seaberg led the Eagles with 19 points. Jared Bailey added 13. Gibson, Kane, Logan Witt, and Carson Seaberg each scored 12 for Elma. Owen McNeil scored 20 points for Hoquiam, including 3 3-pointers. Moving into girls basketball, Montesano made the big statement on Saturday with that decisive win over Tenino, where Dalan was dominant. Both teams entered the game with an unblemished league record, and the Bulldogs came away with the 58-34 victory. Dalan, as I mentioned earlier, had 32 points, 18 rebounds. Paige Leisherness added 15 points and had 4 steals, while guard Jaden King had 5 points and 5 steals. On Friday, Montesano defeated Eatonville 51-13, as Dalan again 17 points in that matchup. Powered by Kira Gardner triple-double, top-ranked Raymond rolled North Beach 64-19 on Friday. Gardner, a Washington State commit, recorded her 4th triple-double of the season in the win with 20 points, 12 rebounds, and I love it when this is the last stat in the triple-double, 12 steals. Get out of here. Kendall Koski scored 17 points, and Carson Freeman tallied 14, go along with 6 steals and 5 rebounds. To round it out, Hoquiam picked up its first league win of the season by defeating Elma 48-40 on Friday in Elma. Charlie Sampson Eastman, the senior, scored 14 points, including 4 3-pointers to lead the Grizzlies. Cameron Crone also scored in double digits with 12 points for Hoquiam. Aubrey Moore led the Eagles with 8 points. Taking a look at some swimming and wrestling, Aberdeen and wrestlers and swimmers both had their senior nights this week. Aberdeen faced both Black Hills and Shelton in a double duels, with the Bobcats boys besting Black Hills 60-15 and Rochester 54-17. And multiple Aberdeen girls grapplers picked up match victories on Wednesday. And taking a look down, Prep boys swimming, Aberdeen fell to Shelton but beat Hoquiam on senior day.
I think Hoquiam only has 1 or 2 swimmers.
That checks out because they only had 5 points.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be hard to do. I think you get points for placing at least 4th in a race, right? Or something like that. So yeah, Shelton won 94-69 for Aberdeen, though. We'll try and keep track of the Aberdeen wrestlers and swimmers, as I'm sure their tournaments, their districts, and state probably coming up here soon. That's going to do it for the local sports roundup.
Update on the Bengals-Chiefs game. It's now
Yes.
21-21 at the end of the third quarter.
I thought you said it was 21-19 just a second ago. Did they make a 2-point conversion or did they get a safety?
That's an excellent question.
You should find out. I'm assuming they got a 2-point conversion.
Or did I misread it? Maybe I don't know.
Maybe you misread it. Maybe it was 18 before, and then they kicked a field goal. People listening to us tomorrow are going to be like, "We don't care."
13-21, then touchdown 21-21.
Okay, so they had 2-point conversion.
Oh, right. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
All right, that checks out. This is a great time for that because I put here current NFL games, and so that's the one that's going on. Then we have
Justin is apparently rooting for the Chiefs. I'm not
because
sure
he
if
hates the Bengals because they beat the Titans because he's
Okay, so I was gonna say I wasn't
petty.
sure if there was more than that to it.
I don't think it is. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure that's it. I'm pretty sure he's like, nah,
See,
they beat my team. I don't like them now.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So.
I'm just rooting for the Bengals.
Yeah, me too.
Like it's
They've been god awful for how long?
because we're Mariners fans. Somebody
Yeah.
texted into the Salk show this week and said we're all rooting for the Bengals because we're Mariners fans. Like there's not
shows there's
like
hope.
there's just we just have to like we identify with that.
That checks out. And that also makes sense why Justin's rooting for the Chiefs because he's a LeBron fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think he's also a Pinstripes fan. I'm pretty sure.
I'm not
And a
going to go that
Lakers
far.
fan. He's a big Lakers fan
Well, yeah. Because
LeBron's on it.
that's
But
the
I think he's
LeBrons.
always loved them also.
Real quick here, where do you fall on the other side of things? Are you rooting for the Rams or the Niners? And
I am rooting less against the Niners than I am against the Rams.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
The Rams rub me so hard the wrong way.
Interesting.
I'm not rooting. I'm rooting against both of those teams, and I will probably be rooting for, even if, knock on wood, Kansas City were to win, I would probably still rather see Kansas City win than one of the others. But for me, there's something about part of it is like the LA vibe, flashy, the way that they've just like thrown the future to the wind and gone all in trying to just get people. Like I'm rooting against it. I want it to fail and smash and.
But what if it works?
Then
what if they just continue
then I'm
to
gonna be
trade
really
future
mad.
draft picks?
I'm gonna be really mad that it's
Like-
working for them.
Like if it's just because if it works this year,
Yeah.
then fine. But what if that's actually sustainable and they just never draft people?
Wouldn't that be the worst?
That'd be bizarre.
It would also be the worst.
Yes.
But
Be
so
interesting.
with the 49ers right now are difficult for me to muster a lot of actual sports hatred for. Like, I don't like them, but Garoppolo's not that great of a quarterback.
Wabbalapalo.
And I kind of like the way that they run their offense. Like, Deebo Samuel's really fun to watch.
That guy's a stud. Yeah.
And so I just like I can't remember the guy's name. Their fullback with the awful to pronounce name.
Juszczyk.
Juszczyk is
Yeah.
like, I like the way they use
Kittle
him
is
and
a
stuff.
beast.
Yeah, so it's
Kittle's fun to watch.
like Kittle's probably the most easy for me to hate of
Oh,
those.
really?
Because he's got the. It doesn't make sense. It's sports hate, but because
Okay.
he's just so broy and over the top, it's different.
I don't get that as
from
much
him
from him.
Than, but this is the thing, because I love Gronk, and Gronk is like the
So here's
prototype for that.
Yeah. So here's little sidetrack because there's 3 tight ends that I feel like all kind of fit into that.
Kittle, Kelsey, and
Yeah,
Gronk.
and Gronk is the bro you want to hang out with because he's a total goofball, but he's also super tough.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he doesn't try and show I'm a big tough guy. And then Kelsey is the bro that's super annoying and you want to punch in the face, and he always acts way tougher than he is, and you're like, okay, fake tough guy, get out of here. Now he's on my fantasy team too, so I can't talk too about him. But then also there's Kittle, who's like super broy, and you're like, that guy might punch somebody for probably no reason. And if he gets in a fight with 4 guys, I'm still taking him, you know? So there's like 3 bro levels there.
An interesting thing about that, because I totally agree with you about the 3, like, they're both the same or very similar. They're along the same archetype.
Yeah.
But I have heard, I don't know this, but I have heard that Kelsey is super, super smart football-wise.
Okay.
Like, incredibly instinctual at like finding soft spots and stuff. Like next level in that area, which I think is interesting. I don't really know much more about it, but that's something I've heard. Which would kind of make sense. Maybe he's actually smart and he's just pretending to be a bro. So that's why you get the fake vibes from him.
That could be it. That definitely could be it. Interesting. You know what's funny is I just watched the mic'd up session.
Obviously, they're mutually exclusive things.
Of course, yeah. I just watched the NFL mic'd up of the last weekend, and right before he caught that seam pass, he went over to Mahomes and was like, "Hey, if there's a look like that again, that seam's going to be open." And then and I was like, my first instinct was like, bro, that's got to be super annoying for Mahomes to. Yeah, but Kelsey, and then they hit that on the very next play, and I was like, huh.
Yeah, that jives with what I've heard of from him or about him. Justin says it's level, which I don't think is very helpful because that's how it's spelled, and he typed it, so it doesn't really help you know how to.
No, it's spelled. It's spelled to make people think it could be Lavelle because it's Lovell.
Yeah, that's what he said. It's Lovell.
Yeah,
which doesn't help
with
pronunciation.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's not very. He's like, it's level, and I'm like,
well, yeah,
that doesn't help me. I know it's spelled that way.
Yeah.
He also said 2-point conversion. Go send a text message about a Bengals playoff win and keep LeBron's name out of your mouth.
Again,
Justin's never been rubbed wrong by a Ram, which I guess that's good.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, it does.
Rams can murder you on accident. I guess that'd just be manslaughter. Anyway, well, here's the thing. I was all ready to root against the Rams because I kind of hopped on the narrative that Matthew Stafford actually is bad and he just puts up big points. But then I kind of remembered actually liking Matt Stafford when he was early on in Detroit before I hopped onto that bandwagon.
Stat Padford.
Yeah, and I think I hopped onto that bandwagon purely because people were constantly trying to pit him against Russell Wilson. And as a follower of Wilsonism, I got very defensive about that. But then I stopped recently and I was like, but I actually liked Matt Stafford and that mic'd up game he had where he separated his shoulder and forced his way back on the field and scored the winning touchdown.
That was pretty cool.
That was awesome. And so I kind of like that. So I'm kind of like, that's the edge for me against the Niners is I'm like, I'd like to see Matt Stafford over the Niners and over Mahomes. But if it's the Bengals, I'm rooting for the Bengals.
Right, totally.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Can we just briefly acknowledge how horrifyingly awful it is that we have to watch the Rams and the 49ers in the championship game?
Yes. Yeah. And the fact that the Niners have had multiple trips this far in the playoffs in the last 7 years when the Seahawks haven't had any, that made me really angry.
So frustrating.
Like, okay, something is wrong. We need to fix it because we have had the better quarterback than both of those teams, and yet both of those teams are here for the second time within the last time that we've made it there. What the crap is going on? And we've lost to the Rams so many times. The weird part is, though, how are the Niners so terrible against the Seahawks this year?
And so good
against They looked like hot garbage.
Like the Packers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like hot garbage.
Did injury play into that? I want to say they were missing.
Somewhat.
They were missing Deebo Samuel against us one time. Yeah. So I don't. That may have.
And Trey Lance came in, but it's like, is there really much of a difference between Lance and Garoppolo? I don't know. Anyway, hey, what's going on in the game?
It is 21-21.
Okay.
With still 21-21.
How much time's left?
Cincinnati's ball though.
Yeah.
So they must have forced a turnover.
Dude, how bad does...
forced a defensive turnover of some kind.
Carlos Dunlap's really bummed out. He was all like, yeah, I'm going to Seattle. I'm going to a winning team. Oh.
But he wasn't getting playing time.
Yeah, I know.
He may have
That's
been
true.
cut.
That's true.
Like, honestly, I don't know if they were going to keep him around.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if his attitude played into that, though. Like, they started cutting his playing time from being a starter. And
totally
instead of
could've.
being like, oh, yeah, I want to be like, if I can be part of the rotation, that's great. But since they were also bad, I mean, it makes sense. But
It
they
also
were 4-11-1 last year.
Yeah.
And now they're in the championship game.
How many games was Burrow out for?
A lot.
Of those. Okay.
Yeah.
That would make a big difference.
That's true.
I wonder how much of it. The Bengals have a reputation for being a super stingy
That's true.
place to play.
Yeah.
Like the organization itself. I wonder how much that went into it too. Like, you're bad, you're losing playing time, and you have to buy your own socks.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, like, this is stupid.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we're going to take a commercial break, come back for some random mailbag questions. We got some odd ones in there right after this.
At Oly Pen Real Estate, we have solidified our foundation on 4 core values. First, we continuously focus on growing our knowledge in the market and in our practices to bring the highest level of competency to our clients. Second, we provide a high level of integrity, compassion, and kindness in every aspect of our business. Third, we put the human element above business through humor, enthusiasm, and patience. And last but not least, we proactively respond to the needs of our clients. Our mission is to create a personal real estate experience, one person and one home at a time. With Oly Pen, it's personal.
Thank you again to our sponsors, Oly Pen Real Estate and the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz, as I try and type while I talk here. There we go. I finished it. Okay.
Justin called me out for saying us about the Seahawks. My bad.
Ooh.
My bad.
Too bad he's not here, so he can't talk about LeBron for the next 5 minutes.
He said you guys should talk about LeBron.
Shocker. Instead, we're going to get into the mailbag.
Oh, hey, I have a thing for that too. Sorry.
The mailbag.
Yes,
Send
the
us your
mailbag.
stuff. Send us
Justin.
your stuff
Yeah.
in a mailbag.
Yeah. By the way, is it bad that I'm like multiple times this show I've gotten distracted by the grapes that Johanna brought? Like, ooh, I get one. Oh no, she's giving me more. No, I can't.
We just lost all of our viewers.
Yeah. Shocker. Wait, did we really?
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna eat grapes anymore. Bummer. All right, it's time for the mailbag. And can you have a mailbag without Francis? I don't know, but this one has a poop emoji in it, so I'm going to read this one.
This is the key to getting your mailbag question read.
by me specifically. It didn't work last week when I wasn't here. So Francis says, when you're walking your dog on garbage day and they poop, with the poop emoji, obviously you bag it because we're not animals, but is it okay to pass by a neighbor's garbage can and provided there is space in the bag, place the bag?
Provided there is space, place the bag of doggy
okay, he
doo
needed
in
it.
their can.
Gotcha, yeah.
Or do you carry it for the duration of your walk and place it in your own can?
See, I think what he's saying about is garbage day implies that the garbage
It's out.
it
You're not
hasn't been
going up
picked-
to their house.
Well, yeah, but also you're not going up to their house.
yeah,
but
and it's
also
not been picked up
It's
yet.
not been picked up yet because you're not putting the poop in the bottom of a clean can because that would suck. Because then it would get smeared around the bottom. That would be
Well,
terrible.
it's in a bag.
Yeah, but if you then
it
put
broke,
stuff on it
yeah,
and then
yeah,
it broke,
okay.
it'd smear. So I think that's okay. I think that's fine. It's better than not picking up your poop in your neighbor's yard. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure. I mean, they're never going
Picking
to
it
know.
up is better. To me, unless you have a good relationship with the person, I still wouldn't touch their garbage can.
Is
That's
it a privacy thing?
Yeah, for me, like I wouldn't want. I
can see that.
I would be sketched out if I saw somebody. I wouldn't be deeply offended, but I'd be sketched out. I'd
Like,
be
"Hey,
like,
guy.
what are you doing?
Why are you touching
What
my stuff?"
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
get away from my garbage
Are
can.
you putting poop in there, or are you trying to find my social security number on a random piece of mail?
Yeah.
Okay, I get you.
So,
I get you. there.
but if it's your next door neighbor and you've lived next to each other for 20 years and you know each other well,
Yeah.
then that's not a big deal at all. Like
Yeah.
you're just like, man, that's good.
You're like, "Hey, Bob."
Yeah.
Putting poop in your garbage can.
Yeah. So for me,
Or-
it depends on the relationship. I
Yeah.
would not feel comfortable putting something in somebody's can unless I knew them well.
That makes sense. What about putting it in a paper bag and lighting it on fire and putting it on their front doorstep?
That you do only if you've lived next to them for a long time and you hate them.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. That makes sense. So if it's Tom Brady's doorstep
And you've lived next to Tom Brady for a long time.
and he never invites you over to his awesome house, then you... All right. The next one also involves poop, but we're going to wait for when Justin's here for that one,
Yeah,
too. I think it
definitely.
brings up an interesting discussion. Not really that interesting, but it could be funny. Angel asks, is bacon man's perfect food? But isn't bacon pig's perfect food?
No, bacon is God's perfect
God's
food.
perfect
That's
food.
why he didn't let the Jews eat it. So that's the answer, Angel. Bacon is God's perfect food.
God's perfect food.
Also, I kind of want to do Tyler's up here. He asked, what is your favorite... Wait, did you have an answer for bacon? Or are you just going to go through a whole list?
Bacon's awesome. I don't know if it's perfect because you also have to cook it well, because it's also easy to mess up, I feel like. Like if you cook bacon too long,
Then it becomes burnt bacon, which half the people in the world prefer to normally cooked bacon.
half the people are wrong. Like if it's super, it's all dried out.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like,
Bacon bits.
but bacon bits aren't crunchy like that all the time. They're
not all the
chewy.
time. Yeah, depends on.
You gotta have a little bit of chewiness to the bacon, in my opinion. Anyway, all right, yeah, let's go
I'm not arguing for burned bacon. I'm just saying that there is a subset of people that strongly prefer burned bacon. So if you're
That's
making it
true.
for a bunch of people, you probably want to burn like one every 5 or 6 pieces anyway.
Okay, that checks out. All right, we'll go a little sportsy with Tyler's because he says, "What is your favorite?"
So that's what I thought was interesting when I was
Okay.
reading this earlier.
Yeah.
He said, "What is your favorite comeback of all time?" And I thought, you know what my favorite comeback of all time is? I am rubber and you are glue. So what you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. And then I was like, or your mom. Actually, I think your mom is a
Okay.
better comeback. And then
So I took this a
just
complete-
looked at it and I was like, oh, he meant sports.
Does he?
I don't know.
Because what you're saying now totally makes more sense with the way that it's.
What's your favorite comeback
What's your favorite
of all time?
comeback?
So I think your mom is my favorite
Yeah,
comeback because it makes no sense
Yeah.
and it's always applicable.
Yep.
Uh,
Your mom goes to college.
uh,
I hate the one that you recited earlier because it takes too long.
it takes way too long. That's why it's so good. It never works.
Yeah.
It cannot work.
Yeah. Or the other one from the schoolyard is, I know you are, but what am I?
That one actually works better.
I wanna
though.
punch that person
because you
in
can
the
say
face.
that over and over and over and over and over. You can say that. You can bring that out fast.
Yeah,
and
if you
it's
wanna
like
get
the other
punched
person
out-
can't talk.
Yeah, if you want to get punched in the face, though, that's a good one to use.
I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah, exactly.
know
You
you
just,
are,
you
but what
just
am
want to, And you're also doing your punchable face there.
So, but if we want to take it the other
The sports comeback.
there could be sports comeback, or it could also be like career comeback, right?
Yeah.
That which could be in sports. In which case, I would say that Adrian Peterson
It's impressive.
probably is up there.
Yeah.
I mean, now at this point, we're going to find out how many touchdowns he can score after 40. He's going to be up there with Tom Brady.
Is he? He's
No,
not that
he's
old.
not.
Okay.
Well, he is old, but I don't.
He's not
He's
that
old for.
He's
for
running
back.
He's
running back.
He might
old.
be older in running back years.
Yeah, and also not as successful. Yeah.
Best comeback. I don't know.
I
I
mean,
can't think of any right now. Like my brain is.
The obvious one is the Patriots beating the.
Oh, game comeback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the Patriots beating the Falcons.
Falcons.
That's the obvious one, but I kind of hated it because I was rooting for the Falcons.
Yeah. And
like
was
not
it-
hard,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Ooh, I got a good one. I've got two good ones. They were both the first time in the MLB that they ever happened. So a lot of people bring up this is the better one because it was a 7-game series when the Boston Red Sox were down to the New York Yankees 3 games to
series
nothing.
comeback.
They were down 3-0 and it had never happened before. They won 4 straight and went to the World Series. I'm assuming Mariano Rivera screwed up one of those games, so hashtag overrated. It's gonna slip that in there.
It's the one thing our
that-
show gets together on.
That was the greatest comeback in a series. In my opinion, the second greatest comeback. The second greatest.
Justin
was-
says that Kim Kardashian is
I-
his
I
favorite
knew it.
comeback.
Yeah. So that's a
sorry.
Chris Pratt line. I was purposefully avoiding that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
because it's dirty. That's definitely on the. Anyway, well,
He's disagreeing with you and saying bacon is easy not to mess up, and he likes crispy, chewy bacon.
you can't have crispy and chewy bacon.
He likes it.
Fine, whatever. Anyway, the second greatest MLB series comeback that has totally gotten lost because is there even 5-game series anymore? I don't know. But the first team to win a 5-game series after being down 2-0, also to the Yankees, by the way. Your Seattle
hate to see it happen.
Yeah, your Seattle Mariners were
Nice.
down 2-0 to the Yankees in 1995, won 3 straight, and then moved on in the playoffs. So, yeah, both times, it happened against the Yankees. Take that.
You just hate to see it happen.
Hate to see it happen. A couple of
their
rapid
heart.
fire ones. Chris wants to know, is cereal soup?
Yes, it's breakfast soup.
Okay, is water wet?
No, it makes things wet.
I see what you're saying there, but this one confuses me because I get that argument, but I also get the argument that water molecules are next to other water molecules, so wouldn't they be getting each other wet?
No, because it's water.
Okay. So
if something's in the water, then it's wet. Unless
Okay.
it's waterproof, in which case it's in the water, but it isn't wet.
it wouldn't be wet if it was waterproof?
Yeah, because whatever's keeping
Well,
it
my
on
skin's
the outs.
My skin's technically waterproof.
Right. So
Does that mean
so
that
if you
I'm
jump
not
in the water, your heart doesn't get wet.
Yeah, but is my skin wet?
Yeah, your skin's wet.
But if it's a waterproof jacket, is
Then
that
the
jacket's
jacket's wet,
not
but
wet?
The jacket is wet, but you're not anything inside the jacket isn't wet.
Yeah, but I'm talking. Wait, so the jacket's wet, but the jacket's the part that's waterproof.
Sure.
So the jacket's not wet then, but everything under the jacket's wet.
Right. Okay. If there's a layer of waterproof around something, then
what's
it gets in the water,
inside-
then what's inside is dry.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sorry, I confused you there.
Well, I just want to clarify.
Okay.
Just want to clarify. So I think that's where I'm leaning to. Like, I think I like that argument.
On the other hand, did you know that alcohol is wetter than water?
What?
Yeah.
How?
Science.
You can't explain the science. You just know
The
it's true.
molecules are smaller. Alcohol molecules are
But
smaller.
wait, you just
than
said it's
water
wetter than
molecules.
water, but that would be saying that water's wet.
I know.
Okay.
And that's why I started that out with, but on the other hand.
Okay. What would be the equivalent of fire
Actually,
in this
the correct way to
discussion?
say that would be alcohol gets things more wet than water does.
So this would be the equivalent of saying, is fire burnt, right? Is that what this would mean?
Okay, so this is a really bad comparison you're making because fire is the well, I guess maybe you could compare it to flame because
Yeah.
flame is a thing.
Yeah.
But fire is just what happens when things are burning. It's a process. It's not a
Okay,
substance.
I see what you're saying. So is a flame burnt?
Yeah, that's a
That
good
would be the
question, I
question.
guess. And I would
Okay.
say no.
Okay. I would say no, too. Chris, well, this one, now he's just getting, why do we drive on parkways and park on driveways?
I
Because
blame the
language
French.
sucks. Yeah. Stupid French people. This is a fun one. If 7-Eleven is open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, why are there locks on the doors?
I actually have a quick answer for that one.
Okay.
For construction. When they're remodeling the inside, they lock the door. And ask me how I know that. They remodeled the 7-Eleven while I went back when I was a paper carrier, and I couldn't get in.
Here's another one to blame the French. Why is it that when you transport something by car, it's called a shipment, but when you transport something by ship, it's called cargo? I mean, it can be a shipment.
I also blame the French for that.
Yeah, and you can also call it a shipment when it's not a car, too. So, I mean, there's that.
A shipment of cargo.
I'm gonna save some of these for later when Justin's back. All good questions.
Oh wait, no, I want to do this
another one
because Justin doesn't need to have an input on this one. There's just an answer to it.
Okay.
If you were scared half to death twice, would you be 3/4 dead or 100% dead?
Ooh.
You would be you would be 3/4 dead.
Yeah.
You would be 3/4 dead. That is the answer.
That is the mathematical answer because you were scared
half
to death.
Yeah. If you were scared 50% death
twice,
then you'd be 100% dead. But if you were scared half to death, where half is of your full life.
Yeah.
But if you're just saying I was scared half to death and then I was scared half to death again, you will never die getting scared half to death.
That's a good point.
You would just get real close.
It's like when you see a penalty in the NFL and it's half the distance to the goal and it keeps happening and it just keeps moving like millimeters and you're like, all right, at this point, what's the point in not committing
just
penalty?
Stop it.
Well, also, if you're a defense at that point, if you're a defense at the 1, what's the point of not just punching people in the nuts? I mean, it's only going to move half the distance to the goal.
Yeah.
I guess you might get kicked out if you do something that egregious.
Also, the risk is that the offense is unsuccessful, and then they get another chance when you already had stopped them. That's the risk there.
That's true.
But
if ball's in the air and you are no way going to get to the ball, but you can reach the guy, punch him.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Give him a dead leg.
Hopefully I'm never a coach. Oh, I had a coach like that once, though. He once told me that while I defended a shot in basketball, put one hand up, to try and block the shot, and then with the other hand, poke him in the stomach. Because he's like, the officials are always looking at the top hand. They're never looking down low. You can poke him in. I'm like, Coach.
Is that what you do in rec league now that you're an old man?
I haven't pulled that one yet.
It's in your back pocket, though.
It is,
as soon as you start losing another step, you're going to be like,
You know what? It actually, the sad thing is that actually crossed my mind in our last game. Because I was playing against somebody way younger than me, and he was playing really well, and that crossed my mind. I was like, I bet I could poke him in the stomach. But I didn't yet. We'll see. Well, that's going to do it for our show today. So for Justin, the next edition of the Sicky Sick of Sickers.
no, I don't like that.
And our trusty producer, Andrew Ryan Leaf, turning a new leaf. Gross. I've been your host, Daniel. Comfortability? What did I say?
Comfortability? I
Comfortability?
don't know what you said.
That's not a word.
Daniel, who is Don Shula Hargrove?
Get out of here, Justin. You've been listening to The Scrimmage.